there's a slice. If you can't release the golf club, then you can't square up the club face, and the slice is often the result. So today's golf lesson is about the golf swing release to stop slicing your driver. As always, we have our free download. You can get to the description and download all the notes and images from today's golf lesson straight to your phone or your PC. I'm Glen Haynes. Welcome to Aussie Golf Pros, where we help you make the most of your game. The golf swing release is a very different feeling through impact to what a lot of club golfers are used to. And for that reason, we're going to share with you 3 really effective golf release drills that'll help you gain that feeling of actually releasing the golf club. But first, what is the golf swing release? Why is it that 99% of tour pros release the golf club, but a lot of amateur golfers really struggle to achieve that through impact? In essence, the golf swing release is a snap of the wrists through the impact area that help the elite players to square up the club face, but also to generate an enormous amount of club head speed. Have a look at how far that club head is traveling just by snapping those wrists. So going from a hinged or lagged position, coming into impact, and then snapping those wrists, we can see the club head is traveling a good 3 or 4 yards through the impact area with very little effort. And that helps us to generate a massive amount of club head speed, but it also helps us to square up the club face. I'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk about why it's so difficult for the amateur golfer to achieve this. Well, there are many different reasons, but we're going to list the main 3, the top 3 reasons why you can't release the golf club if you're slicing your driver and you really feel that this is a need for you. Number 1 is, if we're holding the club too much in the palm of the hand, then that's going to make it very difficult for us to release the golf club. Very similar to skimming stones across a pond or throwing a ball, we want to place that in the fingers. So we want to get the club in the fingers as well. That helps us to get that mobility to be able to release the golf club. And that's much easier to release the golf club if it's in the fingers. If it's in the palms, very difficult to do so. Number 2 is concept. As I said, the tour pro squares the club face up by releasing the club. So the concept that some golfers have is that the club face should remain square through impact. But watch what happens if I try to keep that club face square. Now have a look at my wrists and hands here. They haven't released. We want the club to rotate and release like this, with the bottom hand crossing over the top of the left and rotating through. We want that club face to release and rotate through impact, and that helps us to square up the club face. Because I guarantee you what's happening if you're coming through here like this, trying to keep the club face square to the target through the impact area, you're actually just leaving the club face open. Forget all this rubbish that you've heard about square to square and trying to keep that club face square through impact. It doesn't happen. Doesn't matter who you are, the club face needs to rotate because we're pivoting around our body. So the club face, as it comes into impact, is going to be pointing somewhere way in front of the golfer. And it doesn't matter who you are, there's a certain amount of rotation required. Yes, it's going to be more for some and less for others, but everybody needs to rotate the club face. As it comes through into the impact area, that's when it's square for just that split second, and then it's rotating through here. And it doesn't matter if it's Ricky Fowler, Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, or Viktor Hovland. They're all releasing that golf club and rotating that club face, and you really do need that club face to rotate aggressively through impact in order to not just generate club head speed, but also to square up the club face. It sounds a really difficult thing to achieve, to square up that club face at exactly the right time, and you think, well, how am I going to do that consistently? But the fact is that the golf swing is basically a pendulum action with an extra lever. It's still a pendulum action rotating around. It's just that we have this lever here that helps us to generate much more club head speed, the lever being the wrist action, that release. But we get the golf ball in the right spot, opposite our body, opposite our heart for a right-handed golfer, and you'd be amazed at how good you can get at squaring up that club face if you can release the golf club. Number 3, the other real main reason that is inhibiting your release is tension. Tension through your jaw and your neck and your shoulders and your arms and hands, and all this effort that a lot of golfers are putting through the shot here is inhibiting that release. Remember that stone that you're skimming across the pond? You wouldn't hold that tightly. you're going to have that softly in your hands so that you can release the stone, and we're going to release the golf club in a very similar manner. We just don't let go. We've got this nice tacky rubber grip on the end so we don't let go, but the feeling is so similar. And the golf ball goes straight because the club face was square for that split second of impact. And that's all you need. So let's talk about how that's actually happening. What is it that's helping us to rotate those arms and forearms and the club face through impact? How do we do it? Well, it's not just a hands and wrist release. It's not just a body release. Everything is helping us to rotate that club through to the target area. So we want the body to turn through. If we don't turn the body, we get into this position here. We're trying to release the golf club, but we're collapsing. We get this chicken wing look here through impact. That's not very powerful. And this lead wrist is collapsing, extending way too much. That can cause injury. We want the body to rotate so that we can extend those arms through that impact area, and that helps us to generate that club head speed, but it's safer as well. You want to be able to turn, get your belly button through to target and allow everything to turn through. But it's not just a spin through like this, it's also releasing the golf club with the hands and the wrists. And it's not just about the bottom hand, it's not just about the top hand. The bottom hand is going to come through here, and a lot of coaches use the term you're going to shake hands with the target. But the top hand is also working, and that's going to feel very much like it's rotating downwards. So you get the badge of your glove here, and that's coming through, and the badge is pointing down to the ground as you come through. We don't want to be collapsing and overextending this lead wrist. There's some extension going on with the lead wrist. Extension meaning cupping the wrist. There's some, but you don't want to be just flicking it. It's not a scoop. It's a rotating motion as the badge of your club turns through here. So golf's a very much a two-sided game. We're going to release everything through the target. We really want to have a little bit of reckless abandon here. Stop trying to steer the shot. Stop trying to control your swing so much. That's why it's so important for you to throw those waggles in and release that tension so that you can really swing through and release everything through to the target. It's not just the body, it's not just the bottom hand flicking it, it's not just the top hand rotating. It's everything releasing right through to a nice full and committed finish. Of course, it's easier to achieve the golf swing release if you're mobile in the wrists and forearms. But even if you've got a little bit of arthritis or a senior golfer and you've lost some mobility in your wrists, it's still possible to release the golf club, because we're very much talking about rotation here rather than flexing and extending. You can get a golf club and rotate this way, and we can do either hand, then you can release the golf club. This is the majority of the motion that we're looking for through impact. Okay, so our 3 drills to help you get the feeling of releasing the golf club. Remember I said I want that badge of your top hand rotating downwards. So this drill is really going to help that feeling. Get a disc, a Frisbee or anything like that. It can be an empty box of balls, anything disc shape, and get that feeling of releasing that Frisbee and getting that badge of the glove pointing downwards. Okay? It's trying to spin that way. Getting that Frisbee motion is really going to help you to get that feeling of extending, not collapsing and being in here, but extending and rotating that lead arm. So it's a left hand for a right-handed golfer, extending and releasing and rotating downwards. And that Frisbee feeling is a great drill for you. Number 2, get a golf club. I've just got an 8 iron here, doesn't really matter what. Hold the wrong end of the golf club. Hold the hosel and the shaft there, not the club head, just the hosel and the shaft. This really forces you to get the club in the fingers, so it's so skinny. And listen for the whoosh. If you're whooshing, then that's releasing the golf club. So you're learning how to snap those wrists, just a sort of a half to 3/4 swing, and get that feeling of releasing, and then go faster and faster. And this really helps you to get the club in the fingers, to soften the hands, and to get a feeling. Because it's so light, you're really going to feel like you have to release it to generate any speed. So you're obviously, the goal here is to generate some whoosh. Make sure you're above the grass. I don't want you damaging your golf club. Right, number 3, this is a little bit trickier. So we're going to hold the club up the normal way. Again, it's an 8 iron. We're going to split the grip. So a nice big gap between the hands. Remember, it's just a drill. And you can do these at home. You can hit a golf ball with this one if you want to, but it's quite challenging. And again, just a little half swing and try to get that feeling of the right arm for the right-handed golfer crossing over the left. And maybe even touch your forearms together into this position. So you'll really feel the club lever through impact. Now, we wouldn't do this to hit some golf shots on the golf course because it's not really going to have a lot of control because of this split here. Yes, we can lever and release the golf club, but it's going to be very difficult to control the club face. Let's try and hit one. It's very challenging, very easy to top a shot here because the bottom hand is so far down the grip. There we go. So that really hooked. So you can see I've lost control of the club face by releasing it, but that's a good thing. If you're hitting slices with your driver, I want you to exaggerate the release and hit a few hooks out on the driving range. Make sure that that club face is rotating as you release the golf club through impact. And work out which of those drills really helps you to achieve the feeling of the release through impact, and then take that feeling onto the driving range and then eventually onto the golf course, and we'll get you stop slicing that driver. Now, I mentioned earlier, it's so important to get the grip in the fingers. So if you need some help with your grip, there's a really detailed guide on how to hold the golf club just here. And of course, we've got our free download. It's in the description, or it's at the link there in the corner. Download that straight to your phone, take it to the range with you. Thanks so much for watching. We look forward to your company next week. Are you the best golfer you can be?